Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about a keyboard I have always wanted ever since I've seen this technology in action, and that is Hall Effect keyboards. I've always wanted one because they're just so much faster than mechanical keyboards in general. Everything is faster about them because you don't have to reset the switch to its actuation point in order to just press it again. With Hall Effect, you can just let go of it and just press it down wherever and it'll actuate it as an actual key press instead of a standard mechanical keyboard where you have to reset it to its actuation point, then you can press it down again, which is just slower in general. But first, before I talk about the Polar 65 and just why it's so much better than this keyboard, I want to talk about the gripes that I actually have with my old keyboard, which is this Fanatec Streak 65, which is a pretty popular low profile keyboard, which is fine in general, but I do have some gripes with it, as I said. And first is the spacebar. As you can hear, it is pretty rattly, especially when I click it. I've been using too many mice, but especially when I've been like pressing it down from this side, it is just extremely rattly. And I know I can lube the switch, but either way, all of these switches just feel just fine. They don't feel that great. It's pretty obvious that they're not lubed that much. And also, some of them just feel a little bit more chalky and like rougher to press down in general. So again, as I said, just it's just a fine feeling mechanical keyboard, but not anything super special. However, this on the other hand, this is a huge upgrade. And to prove that, let me just do a little sound test. First of all, I want to compare the space bars, which is probably the most important part to me. So that is a huge improvement, as you can hear. There's no like rattling, there's no like audible like problems with it, rather than maybe just some spring ping, but that is pretty common on a lot of boards and a lot of keyboards in general. And that's probably the biggest gripe I have with this keyboard, honestly, is just the spring ping. For example, if I like bottom out the switch and I really press it down hard, it is pretty noticeable, but I'm not going to be doing that ever. I don't do that. Even when I'm just like in a web page or like actually using the backspace a lot, I don't like bottom out the switch like extremely often. I just like do this. So I'm not going to notice that at all. And either way, even if I did like bottom out the switch, I probably couldn't hear it anyways because I use headphones, so it doesn't really matter. But that big gripe aside, which is again that big of a gripe, there is one more gripe, which I guess is just some of the keys feel a little inconsistent, but that's again not that big of a gripe because a lot of mechanical keyboards also have this issue. Basically, a lot of mechanical keyboards have this issue no matter what. It's pretty hard to get a keyboard that just feels 100% consistent throughout. And in fact, I don't think you really can get a keyboard that's basically 100% consistent feeling. There's going to be some key, like, feel difference in, like, some keys. But let me just demonstrate this. For example, the enter key, you know, you can hear it. It feels like really lubed. It feels like pretty like soft. It has a pretty like soft kind of sound to it. Meanwhile, the backspace, you can tell it's less lubed and just, you know, a little bit like just standard mechanical keyboard pressing down and not like super lubed and a little bit mushy feeling. And that's not that big of a deal because I'm not going to be like spamming these two keys. So I'm not going to be really noticing the inconsistencies because all I really use a keyboard for, in gaming at least, is WASD and some number keys and maybe the spacebar and maybe the shift key. That's it. I don't use basically any other keys, maybe besides the escape, but those are the only keys I use. I don't really use enter, I don't use backspace, and all these other keys feel great. All of these keys are lubed. All of them are lubed. It's not like this where it's just like Rattle City, where it's like a lot of this stuff is rattling. You can just tell that a lot of this stuff isn't lubed that well, or just isn't really lubed in general. Let me just compare a standard key, like a random key, like J. Let me just compare that key to this. It just sounds so much better and also just feels so much better. But the reason why I'm keeping this keyboard, and I'm actually not returning this for once, I know it's surprising that I'm not returning a product for once, is because, again, the Hall effect technology is just so much better than standard mechanical keyboards, to the point where even if I were to return this, why? Why would I return this? Even the spring ping? This has spring ping as well. It's not as noticeable, maybe, but again, I'm not going to be noticing it either way because I don't bottom out switches a lot, maybe besides the WASD and the number keys, and that's it. But not only that, again, technology is just a lot better on this new keyboard, so why would I switch to an old one that has inferior technology and also just will be less responsive, while also still having that, again, awful spacebar issue? There's no point. Normally when I return something, especially like a lot of mice, I return them because I feel like the old mouse that I had is better. Like, just feels better built, whatever the hell I want to, like, whatever hell I think about it. I just feel like the old mouse is better. However, with this, I don't feel that at all, because as I said, I already explained why, because this Hall effect, more responsive, better feeling keys in general, maybe more spring ping, but and a little bit inconsistent, but that's it. Those are the issues. That's really not that many issues especially for as unlucky as I get with a lot of QC. This is very little, very minor like problems that aren't even QC issues. I bet they're just regular, how the keyboard is built. Because again, for like the nth millionth time, this is how a lot of keyboards are in general. Even just standard mechanical keyboards have some of these issues as well. So yeah, that's basically it. I am really enjoying using this keyboard. I haven't really used it a ton, but even though I barely used it, I still really enjoy using it. For example, like CS2, it just feels so much more responsive in that, and it just becomes so much easier with the Hall effect technology to just spam like a certain key, to like tap strafe or do whatever the hell you want. It just feels more responsive. And I know I keep saying technology, but it really is, because it just is better in general in this new keyboard in basically every single way. But that's basically it. I don't have a whole lot else to say. It is going to again take me some time to get used to a standard form factor. Not a standard form factor. What am I talking about? A standard mechanical keyboard, like low profile keyboard again. But I can get used to it. I used a non-low profile keyboard for a year before this keyboard, so it's not going to probably take that long for me to get adjusted to it. And if you're wondering why I didn't get the Wooting 68G or the Apex Pro TKL instead, I actually got this because a lot of people just said it just feels better and just is higher quality and feels better built and is just better and is built with like actual like metal, like kind of aluminum, than just plastic. And yeah, honestly, I don't have obviously those like the Apex Pro TKL or the Wooting, but I can just say from experience that this feels amazing. It just is so well built. And yeah, that's basically it. I don't have a whole lot else to say rather than I'm just very happy with this keyboard. Again, even with the minor gripes, not that big of a deal, and these aren't QC issues. I don't have any QC issues with this keyboard, at least none that I've noticed. I hopefully won't have any QC issues, but I don't think I will at all. But again, even like that aside, the problems I have aren't that big of a deal. So that's basically it. I don't have all of this to say, and now I will actually go. I will see you guys later. Goodbye.